can't wait for some laughter yoga, you know? There's really nothing better to relieve stress. Yeah, it really helps me forget about all my emotions, my negative emotions especially. Hey, did you ever finish that book for book club? You mean Lord of the Flies? Yeah, I did. Me too. I can't believe how savage the hunters were. Yeah, and even Ralph at a point enjoyed hunting. Yeah, it reminds me of a study I read about the other day in an article by William Braun. Have you heard of him? Ha! Who hasn't? That guy's awesome. True. Anyways, students were placed in a classroom and asked to create a fictional society. Obviously there were the jokesters messing around, but once the more grade-oriented kids started to goof off, chaos ensued. Wow, that's a good connection. Thanks. I think Ralph's acceptance of hunting triggered a trip down a slippery slope of barbarism for the hunters, because he was the only respected voice of reason. You know, in a way, going to laughter yoga is our way of dealing with stress and negative emotions, just like what the hunters did. They chanted, painted themselves, laughed and cracked jokes, all just to suppress the angel on their shoulder and to deal with those deep feelings of, you know, sadness and guilt that they had. I agree. That reminds me. Have you heard of Thomas Hobbes? No. Who's that? Well, I don't know that much about him, but I think he was a philosopher who thought that all humans are naturally, like, kind of bad. Naturally bad? Well, not necessarily bad, but, you know, without rules or any form of structure, we will revert to our built-in instincts and carry out actions that are only in the interest of ourselves, which usually have bad results. I mean, if you think about it from the standpoint of evolution, it makes sense that, you know, a selfish person would have a greater likelihood of surviving and passing their genes on than one who had a sense of kind of morals and, for example, would share food and not steal. So even though we have cars, phones, houses, you know, we're all just mostly primitive beings deep inside. Yeah, I guess. Cool. I think Golding might have even caught on to that in his book, because if I'm remembering correctly, I think he described it as mankind's essential illness. Oh yeah, I remember that. And at the end, when the boys were being rescued, it was kind of ironic because the men rescuing them were on a boat designed for war and all carried weapons. The epitome of mankind's savagery. Yeah, it kind of seems like the whole book is really just an allegory about human nature and the dark side of man. Agreed. Well, we're here. Yay, let's go!